Hello and welcome back to the Operations and Project Management Week 1 second lecture. This lecture is about the second part of the unit first introductory chapter, Introduction to Project. In this part of the lecture, we're going to talk about Introduction to Project, how project is being defined, what are the key elements, components, what are the themes, principle and key phases within the project, how project is managed, and what are the key characteristics of a project, and how project can be managed with the help of the team and allocated resources. So when we start our discussion, as usual, we will be asking the first question, and that is what is project management? So we need to ask this question because project is used in our daily life. It's personal life or family life or professional life. In business, we use project day in, day out. But how we define project? So, for example, according to the Project Management Institute body of project management body of knowledge, it says, or it's stated, that project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools and technique to project activities in order to meet project requirement. So that is a quite comprehensive definition, which means a project can be a temporary venture that exists to produce a defined outcome. That means each project will have agreed and unique objective as well as its own project plan, budget, time scale, deliverable, and tasks. However, according to the Association of Project Management, APM, project is a unique, transient endeavor undertaken to achieve planned objective, which could be defined in terms of output, outcomes, or benefit to the end user. When we look into the characteristics, so according to the PMI, Project Management Institute, it says project is basically a set of activities with a definite start point, and it has a definite end start. So it starts at one point and finish. So it has a definite time frame which pursue a defined goals and set objectives and use a defined set of resources. So project comes with quite common key characteristics. So the 5 key characteristics means that the project is always has at least one objective. There is no project without objective. So projects are coming with at least one or a set of objectives. Project is always unique. They are each project is different than the other. They have uniqueness. That is key characteristics of the project. They can be run in a different time with different resources or different scope and different objective. And then there are definitely projects has a key characteristics is a temporary endeavor. It is just for the time being. It is not like operation business as usual. It is not a continuous activity. So it definitely has to start and finish in certain time. Depend how big or small is the project. But project has its complexity. It has its tools and technique. It has different processes and different principles to be applied. And then there's no project without risk. So there's uncertainty is one of the key characteristics of the project. So we believe that the project is usually deemed to be a success if it achieves the objective according to their acceptance criteria within an agreed time scale and budget. So time, cost, and quality are the building blocks of every project. So there are some examples of projects, so different nature of projects, and we're looking into some of the examples here to get a clear understanding. For example, the organization emergency, organizing an emergency. There is a natural disaster or there is any other kind of emergency, and we have to organizing the emergency aid to, for example, to an earthquake victim. So if you have a workshop, there is a case study that's about the Chilean caves, coal cave mines. The workers, they were trapped in the cave, and then there was a need to rescue them. So organizing an emergency aid to earthquake victim can be a project. There's going to be an emergency project to help the victims. And it can be a kind of a project, similar nature of project required in natural disaster situation, let's say earthquake, or in the flood, or any other problem like nowadays we have the COVID, the pandemic. We get projects to help people. Maybe there's a need for people to give them health services, or maybe some people are vulnerable and they're deprived and they need some help for financial help, etc. Let's think about tunnel channel. That's a construction project, so we can be an example that how the English Channel tunnel is constructed between France and England, and what was the project, it is complexity, its time frame, its key objective to achieve. That is an example of the project. Let's say we design an aircraft. In aviation industry, we thinking about, because in the airport aviation airlines, they have number of projects coming day in, day out. It's very project oriented organization, aviation, airport, airlines, and there are many people and resources engaged to achieve certain objectives. So how we take designing an aircraft can be a project. For example, just the design of the aircraft in a certain time within allocated budget and within the scope to deliver that project. Let's think about an example of researching to produce a new medicine for cancer, or let's say nowadays we are thinking to do, there's a lot of research going on for the vaccine for the COVID-19. It can be an example of project. Running a training course, let's say project in a control environment, that's Prince2 is the methodology we apply. This is the project management method or methodology course that anyone can be a practitioner project manager if you want to be certified with Prince2 course. So running or organizing a course for Prince2 can be a project. And then installing a new installation of a new information system, that can be IT project, for example, and relocation of your home or refurbishment of your home become a project. Then you have to allocate time, budget, and then the scope, what exactly you want to achieve, and what will be the, again, constraints and uncertainty that become the key characteristics. So another example can be your own individual assignment for this unit. So you are doing assignment 1, assignment 2. It can become an example of a project to do in a certain time. So it has to be definitely done in a defined time, and due date has to be completed within the available resources and its set objective to be achieved. So there can be a number of other examples. This is just a few of them to get an idea. So their project has phases. So project is starting at one point, and then it finishes finishes to achieve its set objective on the other end. So according to the Project Management Institute, they developed by the Project Management Institute the key phases. They have 5 key phases of project management, and they believe the 5 phases of project management include the conception, and that's include the initiation after conception, planning, execution, controlling, monitoring, and then closure of the project. So when we start the project, the initiation of the project, that's a thinking. When the conceptual phase, we call it project initiation, when you have to get the idea, brainstorm session. When you're brainstorming, all the experts, they sit together and they get different ideas, and then they filter all ideas, and they believe to select one of the best idea that can bring change in the organization or in the business, or enhance or improve or introduce something new. So that can be the first phase of the project. So we call it project initiation. After this, when the idea has been selected, we go to the planning phase, and that is where we called it project implementation. So this is one of the very important part where the project management plan has to be developed, and then we need to know the answer for all WH questions, what exactly is required, how to deliver the project, how and when it has to be done, whom has to be included in the project, and where the project going to be initiated. So the planning phase is the paramount of the success of the project, and there we need to understand to allocate the initial budget as well as the time frame. So we have to break down the project. We will discuss in the coming lectures that how the project need to be decomposed. So the planning is a very important part of the project, because when the planning is done, then we have to execute the project. This is the third phase when we are doing a project execution. So the third and the fourth phase of the project, we have to do monitoring and controlling and monitoring. So we have the certain budget that is being planned, time frame, communication, quality, stakeholder management. They all are the key plans. They have to be together, including the risk management plan. And when we are doing controlling, we are basically ensuring that what has been planned in the project implementation phase, we have to execute and now make the project bring in reality, and we kick off the project with the real work to be done, and then we ensure to control that the project is within time, within budget, during its progression. And then of course when you're progressing, there is a need for the fourth phase when we evaluate and we monitor that we are on track and we are achieving the set quality and objective, and nothing is being detracked. If there is something it need more attention or there is any potential risk, so we have to monitor and control and bring any change management. And then when all is completed as per the set plan, then we have the final bit, that is the last phase of the project, that is called closure. So when the project is closed, that is the mobilization of the resources and adjoining the team, and then completing the project, handing over to the end user. And if it is a success, is the project on time, within scope, within budget, so that means closing and celebrating the project is the final phase of the project key 5 phases. However, according to the Harvey Miller, your textbook, the core book, they divided the project in 4 Ds, not in 5 like PMI 5 phases. So they say project can be divided in 4 Ds, which stands for D for you have to like for example the 4 key phases, which start initiation, planning, execution, and closure. So they basically look into these key phases to be the terms is used as to define, design, do or deliver, and then you develop. So they are the 4 Ds are used here, and you can see from the Harvey Miller your chapter 1, they have defined, design, do and deliver the project. So you can see how they each phase gonna help for initiation of the project to the planning phase, monitoring and control together as execution, and then closure where you learn lesson and develop the project to be ready, test and make sure that all debugging is done if it's an IT project and the beta version is being approved or the prototype model is being confirmed and the project is ready for use to hand over to the end user and develop their part of training, and as well as developing the manual and the lesson learned for the future project. So the key challenges, there's no project without constraint and risk. Project has number of challenges. So one of the among the key challenges, we take the example of the 3-sphere model, and the most important challenge that is people itself. So the project is always coming with a change, and it is not easy to bring change in any organization. So influencing other people is becoming a big challenge for the project team or the project manager. Team member priorities, because everybody has a different priorities, they have different motivation, and they get influenced by different kind of forces. So resistance to change can be one of the issue within the people challenge, and then the perception of people when they are pessimistic and they are not very optimistic. Other than people, the second key challenge in project management is the processes. If there are not right processes in place, there will be governance problem, lack of processes, old-fashioned processes. They are not quite updated, and that's going to be quite a serious challenge for the project management. And then tools and technique is the third important challenge. That is the technology we use. If it is not relevant to the project, or there is a risk of innovation, it is again the competence in technology is not available, and people are not appropriately trained, and they don't have much command. So that can be one of the other challenge that we believe this three-sphere model need to be addressed properly in successful project management. However, the project management delivery is requiring team management, and then when we say project management, the team which need to be a team, project team is basically a team whose members usually belong to different group, have different functions, and they are assigned by the project manager to activities for the same project. Though that is how we make a project team. A team can be divided into sub-teams according to the need, depend how big is the project. And sometimes the team or sub-teams, they are disbanded after the project is deemed complete, or there's a need for mobilization, reallocation, or deploying the team to other side. But when we say project team, the project team is basically responsible for contributing to the overall project objective and specific team deliverables by contributing toward the planning of the project activities and executing assigned tasks or the work packages or the work breakdown tasks within the expected quality standard to ensure project is a success. So we're basically looking to understand that a project team is a team whose members usually belong to maybe a different part of the organization or different department, but they come together to perform certain role within the project. So how we define then? So we design a structure for the project, and we understand who will be the executive team, the owner of the project, the sponsors or the client, and then the key users, end users, or the final beneficiaries of the project. And then in the core, in the middle of the structure, we need someone who delivered the project to control and monitor and initiate. That is the manager, project manager, and then he has to be coordinating, communicating, collaborating with the team. There can be a team or teams or member of the team, depend again on the size and nature of the project, and of course there will be number of suppliers and other stakeholders involved in the structure of the project team. And the project team, basically we are requiring a team that need to build cohesive team in a project success, and we also need to ensure that there is